We're not far from Huntsville, Alabama, at the location of the First Baptist Church, formed in what would become the state of Alabama in 1808. About 12 believers gathered together in the home of a man named James Deaton, and then soon after that, a pastor, Elder John Nicholson, came from Tennessee. The Boiling Fork Baptist Church sent him down here to this area, Flint River, again, just outside of Huntsville, to form these believers into a church. And so that, as you can see here, is 1808. And this church continued on, and Pastor Nicholson continued as their pastor till into the 1830s. Well, of course, at this time, if we think about Baptist churches, what's happening is, of course, the Judsons have gone to the mission field, and Luther Rice, who wanted to stay with them there in Burma, but he had some serious health problems, came back. Suppose that the plan was just for a short time to raise some funds for himself and the Judsons, who'd become Baptists on the way to the mission field. But in the end, Luther Rice was so effective for the missionary cause that he stayed in the States and did a lot of work, especially down in the southern part of the country, the southern churches. Of course, many of those had been founded or birthed out of the Sandy Creek Baptist Church in North Carolina under their original pastor, Shubal Stearns. Luther Rice raises money and does it very effectively for the Baptist missions cause, and the desire to get the gospel really around the world, to use missions and tracts and Sunday schools and this type of thing. So really, in about the 1830s, things kind of came to a head with the Baptists, and there was a division, and one group of Baptists became known as the primitive Baptist churches. Flint River, of course, would be one of those. Many others would have lined up with that, and they were more predestinarian in their doctrine with regard to salvation, and were not proponents of the new mission board movement and missions movement that Rice and others were really promoting. And so, in contradiction or in contrast to the primitive Baptists in the 1830s, developed the new school, or sometimes referred to as the missionary Baptists. And these would be the churches that were behind what Rice was doing. Of course, what Luther Rice ended up doing, his work ended up in a national mission board from which missionaries were sent out from. And so, in one sense, the missionary Baptists did lose some of their autonomy, gave that over when the board became the sending agent. But this is interesting history here in Alabama, because in the 1830s there is a split even with the Flint River Baptist Church, and the group that broke off that became known as a separate church became established, known as the Enon Baptist Church as well. And so we have here, though, 1808, a very interesting area of the country. Thomas Jefferson was the pastor. Thomas Jefferson was the president of America. I don't think he was the pastor. But when this congregation was founded, and it is certainly the fact that the Flint River Baptist Church does still meet today, Primitive Baptist Church. Interesting history with regard to the Baptists here in the state of Alabama.